See, this is why you have to look at the chart back. You might miss some sit-ups. Good morning, traders. Welcome back to Gdansk. As I'm stepping outside of this place where I worked the whole morning. Now it's time to go someplace next door for lunch. Change of plans a little bit. I decided to get the haircut. As you can see, the difference is amazing. And I'm gonna go grab lunch for now. So today is the day for the weekly review that I do pretty much every week. And it's been already, I think, 4 weeks now that I do those. Those have been helpful for me. Now, I want to put this in order today. It's going to be chronological, so review is going to be at the end of the video. But I first want to talk about the week a little bit. It's been kind of a tough week, not in the sense of taking trades, but in the sense of having losing trades. And it seems that the zone I was looking to trade didn't turn out as I expected them to turn out, but it's part of the plan, as always. And I took 2 trades. I think I missed one on a pair, but that's about it. Food just arrived and that looks really nice. Okay, and now I better get going because I'm meeting someone I met a few days ago here in Gdansk this afternoon. So I decided I would walk there instead of just taking the tram or taxi. That's gonna be more active for me anyway, and I kind of like it. See the things along the way, so it's like an hour walk. But yeah, I better get there as soon as possible. Subway, that's probably the only place I'm going. 1.3 kilometers, it's not bad. Let's keep on that walk. Alright, and I've just made it to the shopping mall right here. It's a pretty modern area around here. Shopping mall with a coffee shop. I'm supposed to meet the other guy is. It took like a good hour for sure to come here. But I have a little bit of time left to edit the video from yesterday, so I'm gonna get to work as always. You cannot go healthier than that. Time for work. I guess I'll come back to the Airbnb. I've been here for a bit of time, did a YouTube live. It's been kind of a long day, all this walking stuff, which is kind of good because I feel much better by walking a lot. And I got here, I heard about the death of Anthony Bourdain, which is someone I was really inspired by, and it's kind of really sad to hear that tonight. And I want to go back watch some of the episodes he made a couple of years ago, which are always really interesting. Someone that really inspired me anyway, to travel and to do more stuff and try food, so it's kind of sad, but we'll have to deal with that. If you guys just heard the news, and I'm kind of sorry for announcing this in the spot. I think I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning for the weekly review. I guess I forget what I said in the past video. This won't be the next morning, it's actually a few days after. It's 11:17 p.m. right now and I just got in Frankfurt. But we need to do this review anyway because I want to do it before Monday morning, of course, before the session starts. Just because I feel better when I do it before. When things start to fall off and I don't do the review before it starts, I really feel confused. So let's get to it right away. This is gonna have less editing than usual because I have to publish a video tomorrow and it's really short on time. So let's go with the pairs. If they can. We've talked about this pair a couple of times between 2 zones, 2 major zones. It's been bouncing a lot and it didn't do much the past week. We've been going to the upside. Talking about the fact that if you are going to be trend trading, you can trade this on pullbacks. A very good potential. Now let's see what happened in the past week. We went up. See, these are the pullback we talk about. Okay, so something here, and our lower time frame is gonna be more clear, I suppose. Okay, we had a pretty cool setup here that would probably have been break even, but still. Okay, that's what you want to look for. Now it's coming back down, so I'm not sure what to do with this pair for now. I'll keep it on flat because I don't really want to watch it, and it's not really interesting to trade, but we'll have to monitor every single day, of course, as always. AUDGPY. By the way, before I get there, just if you guys are wondering what kind of trading I do, if this is the first time you watch a video like this of me going through the market, well, please watch the video I'll put below on my strategy, kind of what I trade more. It's also going to be here in the corner if you guys want to watch it, but that's going to help greatly to know what I trade. And because you cannot just apply this and use this review for yourself necessarily. You can use it for your strategy, of course, but you need to know what I'm all about and what I'm going to trade with those things, of course. So AUDGPY, between two zones also, has been pushing back to the 84 level, 84.5. Great also in this pair if you're going to trend trade, like on lower time frame. So this was a pretty big move. And I don't think I entered a trade on that anywhere. Actually, no, I didn't enter a trade on that for sure. Now it's not really interesting, I'll unflag it. Except if we were to have a pullback on the Bollinger Band. If it were to go back up or do kind of a pullback, that would be interesting to trade on lower time frame, like the 1 hour chart. Okay, if it were to pull back here and then come down, that could be interesting. But until now, it's going to be kept unflagged because there's nothing to look for. AUDNZD. At this level here, 1.06, we've been pushing down the past week, the past 2 weeks actually. And now, let's see what happens on the daily chart. It's been consolidating a little bit. See the past week move up, move down. It's at the resistance area on this chart. But here's exactly where I told you guys earlier I missed a trade. AUDNZD, see at this resistance area. This trade happened kind of at a very late time, so I was not at the chart watching. But if you guys are in like the US session, New York, or in a place like that, there's to catch because it's at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is kind of an easy candle, the 4 hour chart. But for me, that's kind of late, it's kind of midnight. I don't always watch the chart at midnight unless I'm really there working, but it's rarely happening. Now, if we look on the 1 hour chart, right, we could look again for pullback opportunities, coming back to this higher band to sell. That's what I'll be looking for in this pair. And since it's at the zone right now, I'll keep it flagged to look at it more closely. But it doesn't mean I'll trade it right away, but I'll just keep it flagged to look every single day, of course. If the USD now is between two levels, these pairs you'll see did pretty much the same thing. They were all near levels. They all pushed back. They're all in a mode where they push back a little bit, but you want to see if they're going to push higher or lower in some case. And this one kind of pushed a little bit. See, this is not really convincing. Big wick over here, big wick over there also. So we don't really know what's going to happen, which means that we can still look for trades because it's near the lower zone, 0.75. It didn't do much on this time frame except on here, which is actually another trade I missed, interestingly enough. This one happened at 7 Eastern time, which is kind of weird. Huh. See, this is why you have to look at the chart back. You might miss some sit-ups. I know if this was on Friday, I tend to be more relaxed on Fridays for some reason. And I tend to not look at the chart as closely as I usually do. Especially 7 a.m. here means the afternoon here. So I don't usually look at the market in the afternoon on Fridays, just because that's kind of who I am. But if we were to, let's say, pull back down, we could re-enter on this trade because this trade didn't pull too far. Okay, it just went here, come back down. We didn't even reach 1-to-1. Here's kind of a rule of thumb I go by, and this is not based on reviews, not based on testing necessarily, but if we have a trade that I miss and price does not reach the first take profit at 1-to-1 of reward to risk, I'm more likely to enter the trade when it pulls back to the entry. Okay, because I don't feel like it went far enough in the right direction to make it a valid movement. I feel like it might move up again. So I might be more likely to enter on this trade. But for now, I'll try to see how the market reacts, and depending on what happens here, decide if I want to enter this trade or not. And this is kind of where the discretion part is of my trading. Like, it's not fully discretionary, but not fully systematic, because there's going to be times where you have to make decisions and you don't really know what to do, and that's why you have to decide on yourself on the spot, I believe. CAD CHF, that's a pretty big gap, but it doesn't look much on the weekly chart or the daily chart. So again, between two zones, push here strongly. We had a nice trade I talked about many times, and we are here consolidating a little bit based on what we see on the lower time frame. And there's not much to do here since it's been consolidating quite a lot, and we push from the zone. You could, if you want to trade, let's say trend, you could look for setups in this range to look for selling opportunities. That could be something you look for, but I'm personally not a big fan of trading these like moves that already happened. But this one's going to be unflagged for me. Euro AD is pulling here between two zones. Okay, we talked about the fact that I didn't like how this pair is behaving for some reason for this consolidation here, and it didn't turn out clear, and then it's here between two zones, so not to be flagged, but we'll see what happened with the pair. Euro CAD at this zone, we talked about it last week, that's why it's flagged on here, and we'll see if we have any bullish setup on this pair. Didn't give anything on the daily chart. On the forward chart, that was the same thing, and on the 1 hour chart we didn't have any setup either there. So looking for more setup on this pair, but with that big gap here, it's going to make a mess to look for setup, because we have to wait for price to retrace back to the lower band of the Montreal band and then trade. Okay, so less likely to be traded this week, but we'll keep it flagged just at a major level in my opinion. Euro GBP at this major level here and really consolidating, not doing much. See how like there's been this big move, but then it's like flat and it's like up and down, up and down, up. Well, this one is down, up and down. For me, when there's nothing much happening like this, it's a sign that we want to kind of unflag it and not follow it too closely, because the move that happened to be pushing price higher might just get back down and it gets stopped out because price is choppy. So not the best environment to trade, hence why I will unflag the pair for now and maybe look at it more closely day by day, but without a big emphasis on placing trades. Euro JPY touching this major level 128, and we'll see what price does, but it didn't do any setup so far on the 1 hour chart, nothing, although we had a pretty cool setup here. But I wouldn't take this based on my rules, but you could have taken this based on your rules, it depends. Now coming back to the zone, so interesting to watch. I'll keep this one flagged for sure, and I'm looking for setup on the lower time frame, of course. Euro USD, we've talked about this many times, the fact that it was at the major support level on the weekly chart. It's gonna be way more clear here, but a pretty wide range, so 1.14 to 1.17. so let's see what happened in the past week. That's interesting to look at. Price went down, formed some bullish here kind of support a little bit, push back up. We had no setup on any time frame. If I go on the 1 hour chart, see this is really close, but I wouldn't consider this a setup because the candlestick here doesn't break outside the Bollinger Band. Okay, so for me that would be a no, but that would have been of course a great reward to risk trade of course, but you cannot be angry on that. You just have to go with the plan, and my plan told me to not enter. I don't enter, that's about it. But you keep the pair flagged to look at it further if you have any potential setup on the lower band to buy, of course. GBP CAD, again a big gap here to open the week. It's at this major support area here, 1.70, I think 1.74, and didn't do much past week, went up, went down, so nothing interesting to trade. But we look for bullish setup, of course, and with this mess it made with the gap, it's going to be hard for price to pull back to the lower band, but we can look for buying opportunities as always. I'll keep this one flagged. JBCHF, the weekly chart was near a zone if I'm not mistaken, yeah, 1.30. We're not yet at the zone, we went a little bit higher, signs of bullish evidence, but not yet to enter a trade. And if I'm not mistaken, we had no setup on the pair the past week. I'm talking of course about the setup I trade. You might trade something different, and that's totally alright. You trade whatever you want to trade. Although we had this nice bullish candle here, which could have been a setup. I told you guys earlier that this was not the best week ever for me, and we see this from the graph, pretty much from the charts, that of course I missed a few trades, right? And I was probably not in the right mental state, or whatever you want to call this, and I just see it there. Like, it's been, I think, 2 or 3 trades that I missed. Not happy with that for sure, but I'll have to be watching more closely. And these are going to be part of my journal, of course, because I want to track what trades I missed, why I missed them, and how I can correct this in the future. It's doing something random between 2 zones, right? 148 and 136, not moving much back and forth, so I will not trade the pair for the next week. Same with GBP/USD. This one's coming back to an area here that's interesting. Okay, but I wouldn't trade this based on this resistance area, because this has been really bad. Price didn't really show any pressure to the downside. But if we look at this new zone here appearing, the 1.88, of course we aren't there yet, but I'll flag the pair to look at it more closely once we get near the zone, and looking for bullish setup on the pair. Between 2 zones, 1.36 and 1.31, nothing much to look for until it gets to a zone, but it's getting pretty close. We'll have to monitor this more closely, but I won't flag it because it's not at the zone yet, and I want to monitor other things more closely than this pair. NZD CAD, oh interesting, pulling back to a nice area, 0.92. This has been like 3 weeks, we talked about this. 4 weeks was between the 2 zones. Now it's pulling back. Great place to look for selling opportunities on the resistance area, and we'll have to look on lower time frame. So we had no setup yet, except this one that would have been stopped out. And USD CAD, I have a trade on this that's currently open, and looks like price made a bullish gap. Okay, interesting, but we still need to wait, still need to watch the pair and see what happens with this. Looks like Friday was a big bearish day, right? 3 bearish candlesticks, but now we'll have to wait and see what happens. We're still at this major zone, 1.29, and I'm looking for bearish setup, of course, at the zone. And finally, USD SJD, again at this zone here, 1.34, a major resistance area, because it's been there in the past. It didn't do much. We had no setup on the pair for the past week. Price is pulling back now, maybe going to this resistance area. We could look for bearish setup at this zone and at this Bollinger Band line, but that's going to be to watch for sure, so I'll keep this one flagged. And that is it for the weekly review. I hope you appreciate. And now I'm in Frankfurt. More on that in the coming days. Bit of hell to come here. Come in a good way. I learned a lot, but more on that tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I appreciate, and I'll catch you back in Gdansk tomorrow for my trip to Frankfurt. Ciao.